we are also ranking every single Pokemon game in my own opinion. So everything here is my opinion, and you're welcome to have your own opinions. But to me, these are all right. We're moving that here, because this is the first game in the series, Pokemon Red. Okay, so we're going to list the pros first, and then we're going to list the cons. Pros of Pokemon Red. It's the first Pokemon game ever made. It featured 151 iconic Pokemon today. And it started the trend in the West as something that would continue for multiple years to this day. This Pokemon game was obviously good enough to start something that lasted generations. We can't talk about the goods without the bads, right? Now, Pokemon Red had a lot of bads. Pokemon Red, like I said, you can't run in the entire game. The closest thing that you can do to moving faster is getting your bike. And that's like after the third gym, which is really far in, and traveling is a pain in the ass. And then not even to mention the multiple glitches, like the Mew glitch, Missing No, Glitch City, and I love Pokemon glitches and glitches in games in general. I think it makes the game more fun, because you get to like take an inside look on like mistakes, and I think that's one of Pokemon's biggest like attractions to me, is because in every single game there's always a glitch, and there's always like a couple that just kind of get left in, and it just makes the game like more fun to me. So with all that in mind, it's B tier. I believe Pokemon Fire Red is B tier. Gold and Silver. The first game to introduce shinies. So in this game, I'm pretty sure you get running shoes. I'm not 100%. I haven't played it in a while. You get running shoes. You get a bike. There's more Pokemon. But a lot of those Pokemon suck. Like, a lot. So bad to the point where there's like barely any Johto Pokemon that you see in any of the gyms. Like, fuck. Lance has like, what is it, 2 or 3 Dragonites? And then there's Bugsy and Falkner, who don't even have a Johto Pokemon at all. And you can't talk about Gold or Silver without the levels, like the level scaling in the game. It's bad. It's very bad. The level scaling in Pokemon Gold and Silver is dog shit, to be honest. I like it a lot because you can like go different routes. But I remember distinctly, I fought the Ice Leader, I forget his name, Price or Pierce or something, and I was way like underleveled and I couldn't fight him. So some improvements, some worse improvements. I think I'm gonna go C tier. Well, D tier. Pokemon Stadium. Oh boy, Pokemon Stadium. Top tier game. I loved it. It was just battling. Pokemon had 3D sprites, and it was on the Nintendo 64. I remember playing this game for the first time when I had only played Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald. And I played this game, and I remember it was fantastic. It was beautiful. The Pokemon sprites and all of that was just, it was amazing. The only thing I don't really like about it is that there's not a... I don't remember there being a story. I just remember fighting. But A tier. Pokemon Sapphire, Ruby, and Emerald were the first Pokemon games that I've ever played in my entire life. I remember playing them when I was 7 years old, and I was just mesmerized at the world that, like, was in Pokemon. And of course, I chose Torchic as my starter, and I thought that the evolution, or Blaziken, was really cool. And I played it, like, all the way up till I beat the game. I got all my Pokemon to, like, level 100. And then, like, I loved the game so much that I wanted to play it so much that I ended up trying to complete the Pokédex. And if you know anything about Gen 3, you'll know that that is essentially almost impossible. Which sucks. Because little old me, you know, I wanted to complete it. And you can't do it without Pokemon Coliseum, Pokemon XD, both of the other games, mystery gifts, Pokemon Fire Red, Leaf Green. You have all these different games that you have to have in order to complete the Pokédex. That's so dumb. And I was very distraught about that. Pokemon Sapphire had secret bases, which I think was amazing. I remember spending hours decorating my secret base. And I just was going through things, like, in the game. And there was just so much content. I mean, hell. Almost all of my favorite Pokemon are from Gen 3. You have Blaziken, Flygon, you have Milotic, you have Rayquaza, Deoxys, Jirachi. Like, there's so many good Pokemon in Gen 3. And it's just frankly S tier. Pokemon Channel, I don't think is a game. Pokemon Pinball, I've never played it. Oh, there's a thing for never played. Why is there 2 Pokemon stadiums? Anyways, Pokemon Coliseum. Pokemon Coliseum. Pokemon Coliseum was very... Oh shit, I'm in the wrong category. All better. Pokemon Coliseum. Pokemon Coliseum is very unique. You steal other people's Pokemon instead of catching them in the wild. And it's 3D, so that's cool. It's mostly based on Gen 3. The only thing I didn't really like about it was that you couldn't catch Pokemon in the wild, like, at all, and your selection of Pokemon was very limited. But the storyline was, in my opinion, fantastic. I loved it. A pretty big staple of the Pokemon franchise, and I loved it. I think this goes into A tier. Pokemon Fire Red and Leaf Green. Yeah, Pokemon made a hell of a lot of games. And this isn't... I don't even think this is all of them. Actually, it might be. I'm not seeing Pokemon Snap anywhere. Oh, it's right there. But yeah, there's a bunch of games. And then there's also just Japanese releases as well. Pokemon Fire Red and Leaf Green. The same thing as Pokemon Red, Blue, and Green. Green being a release in Japan only, I believe. But this game added a bunch of quality of life changes. Now they added 1 through 3 islands, which is like post-game kind of area. They added breeding, running shoes for 1, which was fantastic. And then they have Gen 2, Gen 3 Pokemon in those games, which means that you can catch a lot more. Ooh, thanks for following. And you had a lot more choices with Fire Red, Leaf Green. Like in Pokemon Red, you only had, of course, the 151. There's a lot of version exclusives. And honestly, I don't think it was as good as Sapphire and Emerald. But very original games. Can't really talk about Pokemon without putting these in the mix with them. And I'm going to put them in A tier. Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. Red and blue, respectively. This was the first Pokemon Mystery Dungeon game that came out. And it started, a new type of Pokemon game. Where you can be the Pokemon and you travel and you do all these things, right? You are now the Pokemon. You're a human that accidentally got changed into a Pokemon, and you save other Pokemon from being, kidnapped and attacked, and you have to stop the bad guys, which are Shiftry and Gengar and shit like that. Game was really fun. It was very unique, very original, and it, changed the way that you play. I thought it was a fantastic game. A tier. Pokemon Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum. Iconic games. Very, very iconic. These were, when you talk to somebody about Pokemon, chances are they're going to think of either these games or one of the newer games. Gen 4 was a very big step in the Pokemon franchise. It moved it from the Game Boy Advance to the DS. The first DS game ever made for Pokemon. Like a main series game. And they also released Heart Gold and Soul Silver with it, which were also good games. But Pearl, Diamond, Platinum was the start of something revolutionary, right? It's where a lot of kids kind of got their footing in Pokemon, I think. The starters are very cool, and they have a weird gimmick to them. Each one is weak to it, and then when it evolves, it's now strong against the one that it was weak to, but the other one, it's weird. Infernape is strong against Torterra, right? But then it gets the ground typing, and now ground is good against fire, which means that Torterra can also now beat Infernape, assuming it can live a hit. That was very confusing to say. The game had great graphics. It added a bunch of legendaries. I'm pretty sure it had the three box legendaries. And I think it had some extra ones as well. It had Arceus, technically. It had the 3 legendary dogs. I remember there being a mystery gift for all 3 shiny legendary dogs. And I actually got it in GameStop. And then I deleted my file for some reason. And I didn't have Platinum like everybody else did. I had Diamond. And you should know that Platinum is way better. So we're going to base this off of Platinum, not Pearl and Diamond. Pokemon Platinum is S tier. Pokemon Black. Pokemon Black. Fantastic game. Holy cow, Pokemon Black. Added a bunch of new Pokemon. Iconic Pokemon. Very strong ones. The story with N trying to liberate Pokemon. And mwah, fantastic. It was a great game. S tier. Pokemon trading card game. was when I was a kid, I had a binder full of Pokemon cards. I didn't know how to play the game, but I remember really liking like the artwork and the style of the cards. But I had no idea how to play the game at all. But my like binder was like this thick, full of Pokemon cards. And then I lost it. I lost all my cards. But then I learned. And boy howdy. The Pokemon card game is really fun. Like, yeah, it's based on luck and it's a card game. But it's really fun. I like it a lot. If I was better at it, I'd play it. B tier. Black 2, White 2. Same thing with Pokemon Black and White. Better. Just better. Like, literally in every single way, it was just better. Except maybe the story. But even the story was still good. S tier. Pokemon Alpha Sapphire. Now, because of my fondness with Gen 3 as a whole, I really couldn't not love Gen 6 rendition of it. There was a couple of problems and there's a lot of gripes about it. It wasn't nearly as easy as X and Y in my opinion. The amount of legendaries that you could catch in that game was huge. There was like 15 legendaries you could catch in there. And you got to ride around on Latios in Mega form and like actually control where it goes. That shit was sick. Sick. I think it was amazing. There was a lot of extra paths you could go to. There was shiny hunting, there's a shiny hunting method within the not the Poke Radar, but the Dex Nav. That's what it was. The Dex Nav was also a cool function. I really liked it. You got to see like what Pokemon it was and get egg moves from them, and I remember hunting for about 6 hours for a shiny Ralts as soon as I started Gen 6, and then yeah, I loved it. This goes in A tier. And we're going to Pokemon Go. This game was very original-ish. It's basically a game where you are the trainer. Like, you yourself as a person are the trainer. And you walk around the real streets, like in the real world, interacting with real people and catching Pokemon together. And, like, walking around with your phone, and you know, you like do the thing and you're like, oh, I gotta catch it, whoa, and then you're walking up to your neighbor's house being like, dude, listen, I know my dad banged your wife, I'm so sorry about that, but there is a Charizard in your backyard, okay, you need to let me in or I'm going to cry. And that's essentially Pokemon Go in a nutshell. I remember one time, I think it was like the most crazy thing that happened to me in Pokemon Go was I found a Dragonite, it popped up for a second, and then I went to go catch it, and then it disappeared, and I was very upset. But Pokemon Go has created a lot of problems. Like, a lot of problems. A lot of people have died. Or I'm pretty sure people have died from it. Some people have gotten injured. Now, is that Pokemon Go's fault? No. It's the people that's playing fault. But it's still popular to this day, even though falling off it, like, at the end of 2016, it's still popular. People still play it. Myself included from time to time. I usually only log in for community days to catch shinies and then trade them to Pokemon Home to trade into my actual games. Free shinies. You know what I mean? Speaking of shinies, I'm giving away shinies on Christmas Day through Wonder Trade, and I'm going to pick people from TikTok and YouTube to give specifically shinies as well. So watch out for that video, and just follow the instructions that I give, and you can get yourself free shinies. Anyways, shill over. Pokemon Go. C tier. Magikarp Jump. Magikarp Jump. I've played this game for like 3 hours on the phone. It's a phone game, and all you do is you train your Magikarp to jump the highest possible it can. It's not even a Pokemon game. You just like, it's just a Magikarp. That's the only thing that makes it like a Pokemon game. You could replace the Magikarp with like a salmon, and it wouldn't be tied to Pokemon at all. Like, that makes no sense. Anyways, Magikarp Jump. S tier. Pokemon Ultra Moon. It got rid of gyms and added island trials. Added a bunch of new Pokemon, like Alolan variants. I think it was pretty cool. A lot of people hate on it a lot because like there's a lot of story, a lot of cutscenes, and it's like it's overbearing when you're playing it. You're like, holy shit, let me play the fucking game, and then it hits you with, okay, we'll let you play the game, and then you take like, you go through one route into a town, and then there's another cutscene, and you're like, the fuck. Anyways, there's a busted shiny hunting method that's the easiest game to catch shinies in my opinion, other than the new ones, and like Arceus and Scarlet. But other than that, this was the easiest game to hunt shinies in, which is pretty cool. It gets a C tier. Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee. I don't even know what the fuck that game is. Anyways, Let's Go Pikachu, Let's Go Eevee. Another Kanto rendition of the Pokemon franchise. And this game had follow Pokemon, which was nice, but they did it kind of weird, you know. A lot of shiny hunters did like a lot of stuff in this game. It was pretty easy to hunt shinies. They changed EVs with AVs in this game. It was like a different timeline in the future, I guess, because like blue's in there and red's in there, but like they already did their thing, and now you're doing it. But somehow Rocket's still there, and they never did any of that. I don't know. Anyways, it did have one glaring thing that I didn't like about it. It was way too close to Pokemon Go. Way too close. But I think for a one-off game, it was cool that they kind of like gave it a nod and was like, I get it. Anyways, Let's Go Pikachu. B tier. Shield and Sword. Listen, guys. We all know about Pokemon Sword and Shield. I've dumped a bunch of hours in this game. I had to beat it twice. I completed the Pokédex twice. But Pokemon Sword and Shield was mid, to be honest. It was mid. It wasn't that good. The storyline was kind of garbage. The gameplay was eh. It added overworld Pokemon, which was nice, but like some of them were overworld and some of them were like in the grass, which makes no sense. And then there's Ball Guy. There was Ball Guy though. Ball Guy, perfect. I love him. Anyways, Sword and Shield. It was mostly just kind of boring, to be honest. They added a lot of cool Pokemon, but I'm just gonna put that there. Mystery Dungeon DX. I own this game. I love it. The Pokemon in there, I know this is like a bit of an aside, but the Pokemon in there are like so fuzzy. And they look very cute. And I love it. It's a remake of the first Pokemon game, this one right here, but for the Switch. And it goes in A tier. Oh, Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl. Okay. Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl. I gotta think about it. Because, like, I didn't like the games, really. I completed the game, and then I never picked it up again. I just wanted to complete it. I even tried to, like, do the Pokédex, and I didn't even really want to. It goes in D tier. Legends Arceus is next. I loved this game. This game was amazing. It was original. It was unique. It, like, added new functions. It was, you could fly. It, like, and actually control everything. You could, HMs. New Pokemon. Old Pokemon that evolve again. What? Anyways, in this game, you, like, have to sneak around and catch Pokemon and, like, write down in your little diary the Pokédex rather than, like, just holding up your phone and taking a picture and logging it like that. You had to, like, write it down, and it was cool. It was, like, in the past. It was sick. I hunted so many shinies in there, completed the Pokédex and everything. Anyways, Pokemon Legends Arceus. S tier. Now, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet are not in this list, but Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. There is a lot of bugs. There's a lot of bugs, but that game is the funnest Pokemon game I've ever played in my life. I'm sorry. It's S tier. Even with all the glitches and all the bugs and the frame rate problems, it's S tier. And that is my Pokemon game, every single relevant Pokemon game 2022 tier list. That's it.